my belief is that technology and technological advancements should not drive arbitration in and of themselves. Rather, they should be the servants of the goals of arbitration and the arbitral community. And so they should be faithful servants rather than masters of the process. And I think in that regard, two of the driving forces that are changing the arbitration community at present. Obviously, the first is climate change and the growing sense that arbitration has to become a greener activity than it has been. Traditionally, international travel has featured largely in the practice of international arbitration. Obviously, that has significant environmental impact. And likewise, the preparation of written bundles and submissions, again, has an adverse environmental impact. So I see technology in particular, evolving remote hearing technology, as serving that goal of achieving and trying to conduct arbitrations which are more environmentally friendly and also more efficient. And I think that the second point, of course, then is cost effectiveness. And again, remote hearing technology can assist in that, in the cost savings that are involved in avoiding a physical meeting in a given jurisdiction and instead hosting it remotely. So that, I think, really sums up my thoughts in terms of the role of technology. Of course, there are many other aspects which are impacted by technology, but that is really, for me, is probably the most important as we sit here today. By publishing as a potential arbitrator, parties can consider your views on a particular point and get a greater insight as to how you may likely decide a given case. Of course, I think that the true thought leader is one with an open mind. And so even though they may have written on a particular subject, if they're truly a thought leader, I think they'll come to any given case with an open mind and decide that case based on the evidence and the law, rather than any preconceived position on a given issue. This is always a difficult question because obviously prevailing confidentiality and the privacy of arbitration hearings generally. So it's difficult to comment. But one case that doesn't suffer as much from that constraint was an investment treaty case I worked on behalf of Ukraine, where the claimant was a Russian investor, Tatneft. And I can do so because the case has been reported extensively in the arbitration media. And for me, that was impressive in a number of respects. First of all, we were representing a state, which was a great honor. Secondly, I was working with wonderful co-counsel. I was at that time working with King & Spalding in Paris, and I had the privilege of working with Eric Schwartz and James Costello, Lorraine de Germany, just to name a few. And it was just a wonderful experience for me to work with colleagues of that caliber. And I certainly learned a huge amount as a result of that experience. And then when we got to the merits hearing in The Hague, we had the pleasure of doing that hearing in the Japanese room in the Peace Palace, which again was just a wonderful experience. I haven't had too much occasions for humor in the context of arbitrations. Perhaps one of the closest I came to was a case that we completed in the last 18 months, where the other side's expert report, which came rather late in the proceedings, disclosed a particular document. Obviously, in opposing counsel perhaps had not as carefully reviewed the expert reports they ought to have. And so in cross-examining one of the factual witnesses for the other side, who were the respondents in the case, it was immense pleasure to go through that document and essentially give the lie to the testimony that he was providing. And that was just an interesting experience. And the funny aspect was to see, because this was an online hearing, the rather panicked reaction of opposing counsel once we asked for this document to be pulled up on screen and began cross-examining their client's factual witness.